Hi, I'm Kevin Bowling, Tournament Director for Central Pro-Am Association, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of the Fishing Magazine television series. Cold temperatures and several inches of snow on the ground greeted our anglers at the opening event of the Freedom Tour at the Lake of the Ozarks. After a snowstorm blew in 3 days before the tournament, anglers were faced with frigid temperatures and thin sheets of ice on the upper parts of the lake.
I put in this morning and I broke ice for 2 miles. So it was one of those deals where, you know, it ranges anywhere from 35 to 46, 47 degrees. 47 was the warmest I found.
Checked it this morning because things are getting so cold. Just was getting nervous about the weather and stuff. Made one pass, didn't catch a fish, changed a lure and caught a 5-pounder, so maybe life is good after all. During the week you can do real well there. During the weekend I fished up there 1 week and I caught 3 keepers, which is good enough for show but not good enough to win. I think it'll be 32 pounds to win this tournament. Some reason 32 sticks in my mind.
The fish are biting a little bit. It'll probably take 25, 28 pounds, just about like normal to win. There'll be a lot of fish caught.
We're almost into the winter pattern here on Lake Ozarks. 2 weeks ago, the fishing was fantastic. There were a lot of fish shallow. There's some of them still there, but a lot of them are starting to move and transition.
Roger's right. With the dawn of day one, temperatures were slowly dropping, causing the fish to slow down from earlier in the week. But as always, lots of anglers are catching fish. We'll see in a few moments if those fish did measure up as we head to the stage at the Lake of the Ozarks. But first, let's get some fishing tips from Central Pro-Am Professional Division angler Steve Wilson.
And now it's time for Tips from the Top, brought to you by Ranger Boats.
I found out fishing clear water, watching fish come up on stick baits, how slow they rise up on the bait, and if it doesn't go in their mouth, the first time they open it, they lose interest. So I try to fish a lot slower than, you know, the average guy will.
Welcome back to the Lake of the Ozarks and the inaugural event of the Freedom Tour. Despite the cold temperatures and the icy conditions, lots of nice fish are being brought to the stage. Toby, a former championship winner. Going to weigh one for big bass first. Looks like it's going to get it too. 4.55 pounds. How'd you catch that big fish, Toby?
Flipping a jig.
Flipping a jig. Now, I know you fish down on Grand Lake a lot. You live down there. How does this lake compare to Grand in terms of style of fishing?
It's pretty much the same way. It's got a lot more Kentuckies than Grand does, but right now I'm kind of going after the Kentuckies, and I found a good little bunch of big ones, so.
Them are Kentuckies.
Yeah, they are.
Every one of them?
All for one.
17.25 pounds. Let's get a couple of those spots out of here and get some pictures of them. 17.25 pounds. That's the lead in the Pro Division right now on Kentucky spotted bass. Toby Hartzell. We weighing one for big fish? Well, that's good enough. 6.35 pounds. Let's get a picture of that fish. Jeremy, great job. How'd you catch that fish?
Caught it on a jig.
What area of the lake are you fishing?
Up around the Green Bridge.
Now, see, you're new at this, so you won't know that you're not supposed to tell anybody anything. There's your big bass leader right now in the Pro Division, Jeremy Luttrell. How you catching your fish?
We're just flipping a lot.
Flipping a lot. What kind of stuff are you flipping?
A little bit of everything.
Docks? Rocks?
Everything.
Logs?
Everything.
Laydowns? You name it, he flipped it. 5 bass today. Good sack of fish. 14.65 pounds. Good job. That looks like about second or third place right now in the Pro Division. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for James Dill. How many bass you got in that sack?
Got 5.
5 bass in that sack. 14.50 pounds, 14.50. I think that's second place right now. How'd you catch those fish?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Thanks for being honest with me. I'm glad we're rid of those glow-in-the-dark spoons that Mike Webb's been catching his fish on.
I think they're within ounces.
I struggled for these all day long. I only caught 6 keepers, and where I'm fishing, it got so cold that I had to fish so slow, it just was driving me crazy. Even though I got these, I've been taking a limit in about 15, 20 minutes, and it took me to 11 o'clock to get these, so I'm pretty scared about tomorrow. Hopefully it'll all work out.
Well, let me tell you what you struggled your way to right now. 16.10 pounds. That's second place in the Pro Division right now. Wayne Fitzpatrick here on his home waters. Wayne from Jefferson City, Missouri. Wayne fishes for Ranger Boats, Dave Munganess Motorsports. How many bass is in your bag, Wayne?
I got 5.
17 pounds leading the tournament right now. 14.95 pounds, 14.95. Let's get a picture of a couple of those fish, Kenny. You waiting for the ice to melt, Taurus? One bass? Is that one bass? 5.35 pounds. That's big bass in the amateur division. Let's get a picture of that fish. $735 on the line, Taurus, if that fish holds up.
Well, I got lucky and got 5 today. I only caught 4 in 2 practice days, so I wasn't too optimistic, but I had a pretty decent day today and had a pretty good stack.
A little over 17 pounds leading the tournament right now. 17.25 pounds. 16.15 pounds. Let's get a couple of those fish out of there and get some pictures of them. Chad, how'd you catch those fish?
You probably know better than that on the first day, but it's probably...
Everybody else has been telling. Everybody has told, and they've told the truth. In fact, Mike Webb's catching his on a glow-in-the-dark spoon.
Well, most folks know probably what a Brower's doing on Lake of the Ozarks.
You're not going to say, are you?
No, that's no secret. I'm just fishing a jig, and I did it in practice and only caught 4, so hopefully tomorrow will hold up.
Hopefully tomorrow it holds up. Good stack right now, a little over 16 pounds. He's in the top 3 or 4 anglers right now. Holy cow. $13.85 pounds, $13.85. Get a couple of those fish out of there. Let's get a picture of those. My gosh, $13.85, a limited bass. You got a big smile on your face or a little smile?
I'm all right.
I'm all right, he says. I guess so. 14.95 pounds, $14.95. That's top 10 right now. How'd you catch your fish?
Flipping.
Caught him flipping. What are you flipping?
Flipping a jig, a naked jig.
What are you flipping it around?
Docks.
Docks?
What else is in the lake?
All right. Toby Hartzell has really set the pace on the pro side of this tournament, with Chad Brower and Steve Wilson following. Fishing can be unpredictable on Lake of the Ozarks in December, but as some of our anglers have come to find out, sometimes it's not where you fish, but how. Not to be outdone, yesterday's second place angler Chad Brower is really on fish. Our cameras got to see lots of fish being caught that day, and there were some mighty big bags being brought fish. And of course, somebody's always going to have a good story. Bill Hoppert joining us next from Columbia, Missouri. This amateur division angler yesterday was in second place second place by about 4.5 pounds yesterday. He's got 2 bass today, 3.2.
A little more.
365. Eddie May joins us now. Eddie, wow, Eddie. Eddie had 14.95 pounds yet. You're wanting to win this thing, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I need to.
Eddie May, you won't have to win that Ranger boat. You may win this thing right here. 4th place yesterday with 14.95. 5 bass today.
Come on.
17.10 pounds. 17.10. Oh, look at those fish. You catch them like that, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to win some money. Yeah, that's right. Put your hands together. Here's your leader in the Pro Division. 2-day total, 32.05 pounds. Eddie May. Gene Lineberry in the Amateur Division. You're still leading.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Bill Hopper took a little run at you, but wasn't able to catch you. He's a pound behind you now. We're going to add 1 bass to that today, 2.70 pounds, 270. Next nearest competitor, Greg Brummett, who had 870, so he's going to have a big old sack of fish today to catch you, Gene. But 2-day total for Gene Lineberry, 16.55 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, there's your leader right now in the Amateur Division, Gene Lineberry.
Thanks, Bill.
I understand from my cameraman that you started off struggling this morning.
Yeah, I really didn't fish well all day, and I struggled all day, and really only had 3 keeper largemouth at about 1:30, and I had a pretty good rally here at the end of the day and caught that 5 and another good keeper.
I guess rally is kind of the understatement. 15.70 pounds.
Just a bit shy.
He needs 32.05 pounds to tie for the lead. 31.85 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, here's second place right now in the Pro Division out of Ranger Boats, Chad Brower. 15.25 pounds. 2-day total, 27.65 pounds. It's not going to be enough to win another one for you, but it's going to put you way up there and get you a nice check. Here's a guy that can make a run at the lead. Yesterday, Steve Wilson from Lee Summit, Missouri, was in 3rd place with 5 bass that weighed 16.10 pounds. He won our event in March of this year, a wind-shortened event of a 1-day event. People have kind of wondered, could he back him up? Did you get him backed up?
Well, I think I can back them up. I've got 4 of the right fish, and then I got 1 of a little stupid fish, but as you're going to see, them 4 right fish are going to do me pretty well.
4 bass.
5 bass.
No, they said one of them just ate the stupid one.
All right.
So 5 bass, 17 pounds even, 17 pounds. Here's your leader in the Pro Division, 33.10 pounds from Sport Boats USA and Ranger Boats, Steve Wilson. Mike Webb joins us next on the stage. Caught his fish yesterday on a glow-in-the-dark spoon. You big liar. How'd you catch those fish yesterday?
A jig and a jerkbait and a crankbait.
A little bit of everything, just doing what it needed to be done. He had 5 that weighed 1230 yesterday. Boy, you've got a sack today. 15.85 pounds. Great job. Let's get a couple of those big old thumpers out of there and get a picture of them for Mike. 6.30 pounds. Second big bass right now. Let's get a picture of her. 630. Good fish. What'd you catch that fish on?
On jig.
On a jig. Surprise, surprise. What's your fish, Rick?
Caught them all out of an Aikens jig and a clown rogue.
Aikens jig and a clown rogue. Boy, nice sack of fish. Gonna make a run for it. 16.15 pounds. 30.65 pounds. Great 2-day total, Rick Scarberry. 14.65 yesterday, 14.05 today. Great job, James. Steve Wilson sure had his tactics figured out for the upper end of the Lake of the Ozarks using his hand-tuned stick bait. In a minute, we're going to listen to some of the other anglers and hear about how they had success at Lake of the Ozarks.
is a place where people...
With only a pound separating first and second place, our anglers have certainly shown that they know how to fish in the winter months. Let's find out how they did it.
Basically spent my time all in the river, which is my forte. I'm a river fisherman. I spent a lot of time way up by Warsaw. I was making an 80-mile boat ride here all the way up above Highway 7 bridge. Basically, you could watch me fish from the visitor center if you had binoculars. That's how I was able to get them when everybody else practiced up there and didn't catch them, because they were off the bank. I got them about 4 feet down, about 10 feet off the bank. The bait that I won the tournament on, I spent about two weeks making this bait. And it's a good thing that I didn't lose that thing. And every fish that I caught on the jig had ate it up all the way down in its throat. That's another good way to know they like it. So I had 3 jig fish behind the docks today. I was fortunate enough not to lose them on cables on that 12-pound line that I was using.
Well, I had a tough practice due to the weather. It was cold, and had like 2 little old short fish Thursday, and then Friday it got colder, and managed to catch a couple keeper fish, and I went back to them and caught 32 pounds out of it.
What are you catching your fish on?
I was flipping a Jewel 7/16 ballhead jig with backing it up with a chomper.
Well, the first Central Pro-Am tournament of the season is on the books, and the action is heating up for the rest of the Freedom Tour. Join us next time as the Fishin' Magazine television series heads into northwest Arkansas's Beaver Lake. If you'd like to be a member of the Central Pro-Am Association or fish the next